Hi guys, it's Blackie for Shaman's Forest Bushcraft. Okay, this is the final installment of TARP Wisdom. In this, we're going to be discussing a flying tarp. Now, the word flying means literally you're putting it up on a line like flying a sail on a boat. Probably where they got the idea of it. Now, there are many different configurations like I've stated, but the most common is this one, which is simply a rectangle or a square, depending on what yours is sided like, where the corners are pulled down or the center section is pulled out. Now, this particular configuration is normally very useful for going over a low shelter or over a hammock especially, but where I find this type of design has its flaw is when you get blowing rain, because it goes up underneath too easy. In thick cover like where I live in dense forest, where from top of my head to the top of the trees might be 60-70 feet, it's a pretty good bet that when you're in a pretty good downpour, the water is going to hit the leaves on the way down and therefore break its speed. It'll be a hard rain, but it won't be like pouring it out of a bucket. It'll be, relatively falling straight down. In which case, this configuration does a very good job at covering you, because as long as you're well up underneath the edges, you're okay. Of course, you want to put drip cords on your main line coming from your trees, and of course down here on the end. And if you're running a hammock, you want to put drip cords off of them as well for water running down the tree. But if I'm running a hammock and I'm in a little more open area, I don't set it up like this. This is the classic flying design. It works really good when you want a breeze to come under, and let's say that I have a breeze coming from that way going this way. I'll set that side of the tarp a little bit higher and the other side of the tarp a little bit lower. That way the wind flows through and I get both bottom circulation and top circulation if I'm in it in a hammock. Consequently, if it's cold and I want to kind of avoid it, I'll put that side lower and the other side higher to shield me better. But when I'm in a hammock, I set it up in a different configuration. Give me a second and I'll set that up. Stay with me. I'll be right back. In this configuration, which is kind of like I call it a hanging diamond, I've done two corners up top. Instead of it being square, it forms the triangle sides. This allows deeper coverage when you're hanging in a hammock, because at the two ends ain't nothing but the ends of the hammock, and on the bottom where your body is sagging down, I get more blockage out of the weather. On my ends, should I get blowing rain, where it's going to blow in around the edge or something, that's when I'm going to get here. And on my ridge line up underneath, I'm going to put that 55-gallon drum liner or my poncho or something like that, and add some additional coverage on whichever side the storm is coming from. So if it's coming from this way, I'll get up under here, hook it over, and then pull it out this way and stake it so that it doesn't blow in on me. This is a very good way, especially, like I've said, in my heavy tree cover. It's a very good way to do it, and it's my preferred way to do it. It only requires 2 stakes, and then the other 2 points are on the ridge line. It makes very fast in and out, and it doesn't want to flop as much. The straight edge, like we just saw, has a tendency when you get a lot of wind, that center section in here gets to flapping unless you guide out. This doesn't do that. So if you're in a little more open area where you may get more wind, thus blowing rain, this is the configuration that I set it up in. Again, I use the same guidelines like I showed a few minutes ago in my other video of quick on and quick off. I fold my tarp up so that I have my tarp laid out, a 55-gallon drum liner. Then I have my stakes, which already have cord on them, so I can hook them as they are. And I have my guidelines laying there, and I have my 20-foot ridge line, all rolled up in a small, nice, neat bundle, so that when I roll it out, there's what I need. The drum liner is used for the ends. The drum liner is used to put down here on the ground whenever I'm changing clothes and I need a dry or safe or clean place to put my feet, or some place to sit up under it. It can also be used as emergency rain gear or to cover my tarp and everything with it. Pretty good idea. I know this one is short and sweet, but I just want to touch on the bases a little bit. I hope this has given you some ideas, guys. There are thousands of ways to utilize a tarp. It is our most versatile shelter, period. And if you do a little bit of practice with it, I think you'll find, like I have, that it's my go-to shelter in the winter. It's my go-to shelter in the summer. It's a quick, easy up shelter. And Nesmunk was right. An open camp with a fire is much better than any other camp. Hope you've enjoyed this, guys. Please leave any questions or comments in the chat. If you want something filled out a little bit better or something for me to touch on, please ask. I love to hear from you. I'm Blackie for Shaman's Forest Bushcraft, wishing you safe journeys. Have a great day, guys.